Welcome back, Screamers, to Sleepy Screams, where reality drips darker than any nightmare we can imagine. I'm your host, Sleepy Screamer, your guide to true horror stories, and tonight we're not journeying into legend or fiction, but into the cold, dark waters off Jindo, South Korea. It's April 16th, 2014. A ferry carrying hundreds of students set sail for paradise but drifts straight into hell. Out of 476 souls, 304 never came back. This is the tragic story of the Sewol Ferry Disaster, the ferry of no return. Hold your breath, Screamers. It's time to go under. The ferry of no return. It's morning on April 16th, 2014. The Sewol Ferry gently slices through calm waters, heading from Incheon to Jeju Island. On board, 325 students from Danwon High School. Excited, laughing, joking, snap selfies, play games, texting their parents. Mom, we're having so much fun. Love you. But at 8:48 a.m., everything changes. The ferry, dangerously overloaded and modified, makes a sudden sharp turn under the watch of third mate Park Han-gyol. Cargo containers shift violently, sliding to one side with an earth-shattering boom. Passengers suddenly find floors turning into walls, chairs, tables, beds, all sliding uncontrollably. The ship leans alarmingly. Confusion spreads. Kids giggle nervously, thinking it's a harmless prank at first. At 8:55 a.m., panic sets in. The ferry now lists 45 degrees. Inside, chaos reigns. Students scramble, but a voice crackles on the loudspeaker. Do not move. Stay where you are. It's safer inside. Trust in their elders. Believing help will come. The kids obediently sit back down, waiting. Parents receive reassuring texts. They told us to stay calm. Don't worry. The captain, Lee Jun-seok, isn't on the bridge. He's in his cabin, unresponsive, uncertain. As water rapidly floods the decks below, students trapped inside cabins realize too late they've trusted the wrong voices. At 9:30 a.m., the ferry tilts further, nearly 90 degrees now. Water pours in through broken windows and doors. Students, desperate, send panicked texts and calls. A chilling real-life text from a student named Shin Young-jin reads, "Mom, the ferry is tilted too much. We can't get out." Star. His mother's frantic reply, heartbreaking. "Try to escape any way you can. Please survive." But the reply never comes. Another student, Kim Won-ki, trapped inside, texts his older brother. "Hyung, please help us. We are sinking. I'm so scared." The older brother pleads with rescue authorities, but confusion on shore delays rescue efforts, leaving helpless families to watch from TV screens in horror as the ship slowly sinks. Meanwhile, rescue boats circle helplessly. Coast Guard personnel wait for orders that come tragically late. Captain Lee, dressed as a civilian, shamefully slips onto a lifeboat, abandoning his ship, and the hundreds still trapped inside. Survivor Lim Hyun-tae later recalls in a harrowing interview, "I heard screams. I saw people banging against locked doors underwater, begging for help. I escaped, but their faces haunt me every single night." Another survivor, student Park Jun-hyuk, describes the horrific moment he saw his friends submerged. "They were alive, trapped behind glass. I reached out but couldn't break it. Their eyes were begging for help, then they disappeared." By 10:17 a.m., the ferry completely flips upside down, sinking rapidly, trapping passengers inside dark air pockets, shrinking by the second. Families, watching the live broadcast, scream helplessly, begging for rescue that never arrives. Divers entering the submerged ferry days later witnessed true horror. Dozens of bodies floating, arms intertwined, clinging desperately to one another until their last breath. Phones still clutched in their hands, final texts unsent. Weeks later, the nation reels. Parents of lost students gather in anguished protest. One father, Jung-Min Kyu, whose daughter never returned, tearfully tells reporters, "I trusted them to protect her. They told her to stay put, and she trusted them. She waited, obeyed, and drowned because of that trust." Investigations later uncover shocking corruption. The ferry company overloaded cargo for profit, ignoring safety regulations. Illegal modifications to add cabins destabilized the vessel. Crew members lacked basic emergency training. President Park Geun-hye's government faces impeachment partly due to their disastrous response. Years later, the ferry is painstakingly salvaged, rusted, skeletal, ghostly. Recovery teams find scattered personal belongings, eerily preserved phones, bags, shoes, silent evidence of lives cut short by negligence. Grieving families watch from docksides, sobbing, haunted by unanswered questions. Today, survivors battle unbearable guilt, PTSD, and nightmares. In interviews, many confess they still hear voices of friends pleading from beneath the waves. Lee Jun-seok, the captain, is sentenced to life imprisonment. But for parents and survivors, no justice ever feels enough. And there you have it, Screamers, the tragic tale of the ferry of no return. A real horror rooted not in monsters or ghosts, but human negligence, corruption, and heartbreaking trust betrayed. A ferry ride turned tomb. 304 innocent souls forever beneath the waves. If you're still with me, hit subscribe for more true nightmares. Smash that bell so you don't miss another sleepy scream. And share your thoughts below. Would you have stayed put, trusting the crew, or fought your way out? I'll be waiting to hear.